majority. Here at the Anomaly, we are still protecting our energy and we are still walking in silence. Here at the Anomaly, we are still not worried about what others' opinion is because God's opinion is the only opinion that matters. Here at the Anomaly, we have found our truth and we are walking in it each and every day. Amen. So I wanted to share with TikTok as well as uh, YouTube today. So TikTok say good morning to YouTube, YouTube say good morning to TikTok. So what the Lord spoke to me even as I was waking up this morning, that I'm reminded of a story. He reminded me of a story in the Bible about a man and two women. If you know anything about the Bible, you will know about Rachel and Leah and how hard this man was willing to work for these women, for this woman. So ultimately, he was bamboozled, but in the end, he was able to get what he was working for. So I want to break this down. So he went to his uncle's to live with his uncle, and he met one of his daughters, and he fell in love with her. And so they came to a conclusion, they made a deal that he would work 7 years. This man worked 7 years for this woman. 7 years, not 7 weeks, not 7 months, 7 years. And a lot of these men out here are not even willing to go through a year um, with these women. And so he worked for 7 years. And his uncle tricked him. He gave him the daughter that was not that fair. When he woke up the next morning, that's the one that he wanted wasn't in his bed. It was the one that his uncle gave him. He tricked him. And he loved this woman so much that he was willing to work another 7 years. But that's not my point today. My point today is this man worked 7 years, toil and labor, for something that he did not want. And a lot of times, men will be on the right path, working for what they want. And the enemy will trick them with something that they don't necessarily want. Like, there are men out there that are pure and they are saving themselves. And they are praying and they're asking God for a wife. And a lot of times during that period of vulnerability, the enemy will come in and slip you something that you don't necessarily want. And so he had to eat that. He had to deal with that. So he accepted her, as his wife or what have you. But he really didn't want her. And that's what the enemy will do. He'll trick you and he'll give you something that you really don't want. And then you end up having to start all over again. You have to deal with that. You have to go through that cycle. And then you have to continue to work for what you really want. And so he did. He worked another 7 years. So that man worked 14 years for those two women. Although he only wanted the one, but the enemy gave him another one. So he got stuck with that one. But he continued to work for what he wanted. So what the Lord is saying here today for you guys, you men, is that you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. And while you are putting in the work for these women, you have to stay focused. You can't allow beauty, booty, money, none of that stuff to distract you, because the enemy will slip one in on you. And when he do, and you get involved with that, you're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to eat that. And then eventually, and then ultimately, if that's not what you want, you're going to still have to start all over again and work for the one that you really want. So God is saying that when you're in the period of working for what you want, stay focused. Stay focused, amen. So that you don't have to deal with what this man had to deal with. He got distracted and he wasn't paying attention, and his uncle slipped one in on him. And that's what the enemy is doing to a lot of these men. He's slipping one in on you. And then you end up getting involved with the person, you end up marrying the person, you end up having kids with the person, and then you stuck. And then at some point, some men decide, okay, this is not what I really want. I'm going to continue to work for what I really want. And so then you end up having to, you end up working for what you want. So then you get the one that you want, but you still have this one over here that you have to deal with or take care of or what have you. So God is saying that when you're going through these vulnerable periods, to stay focused and don't let the enemy slip one in on you. Amen. I don't want to make this message too long because I know you guys' attention span is not that long. But I pray that this message would help somebody. God bless, and I will see you again. Because he wants to be a witness for what he's about to do. Here at the Anomaly, we are still bosses. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Anomaly. Intuition Speaks with me, God's Intuitive Princess. Here at The Anomaly, we are still bosses. Here at The Anomaly,